Hi and hello, thank you so much for tuning in, and if you are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Preeti Rao and I am both a real estate and a mortgage broker for close to 20 years. Now, I recently met a friend who asked me this very pertinent question. With the looming recession and rising inflation, is it better to rent or buy in 2023? Some recommend waiting, while others are bullish about the market. The truth is, there are a huge number of factors to take on board, both short and long term, when you are thinking of buying. So in today's video, I will be focusing on the 5-year rule and why that is the first rule you need to consider before digging deeper into the numbers. But first, you know the drill. Make sure to like, share, subscribe and tap that bell icon. It gets me motivated to keep you up to date with everything real estate. Now, you already know that buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions that most people will make in their lifetime. It's a significant investment that requires a lot of consideration and planning. And all my first-time home buyers will vouch for this. I always tell them to stick to the 5-year rule that states that you should only buy a home if you plan to stay in it for at least 5 years. The reasoning behind this is that it typically takes about 5 years for the equity in the home to grow enough to cover the cost of buying another property. And if you plan on staying in the home for less than 5 years, it may be more cost effective to rent instead. So let us dive deeper into the pros and cons of both opinions. Renting a home can be a good option for those who are not ready to commit for the long-term mortgage. With renting, you have the flexibility to move frequently, which is especially helpful for people who are not sure where they want to settle down or who have careers that require frequent relocation. Additionally, renting can be more cost effective in the short term as it often requires lower upfront costs than buying a home. However, renting also has its downsides. One major disadvantage is that it is not a long-term investment. Unlike home ownership, renters do not build equity in the property they are living in. Additionally, renting can be less stable than owning a home. Your landlord can decide to sell the property or choose not to renew the lease, leaving you with the task of finding a new home, probably at a much higher price. Buying a home, on the other hand, can provide many long-term benefits. Home ownership is often seen as a sign of financial stability and can be an excellent investment opportunity. As you pay off your mortgage, you build equity in your home, which can be used for future investments or to help fund a retirement. Additionally, owning a home gives you the freedom to make improvements and changes to the property to suit your needs and your preferences. However, buying a home is not without its risks. The upfront costs of purchasing a home can be significant, with down payments, closing costs, and other fees. Additionally, owning a home can be less flexible than renting as it requires a long-term commitment to that particular property. If you need to move frequently or have a job that requires relocation, owning a home may not be the best option for you. So now, how does this 5-year rule fit into this equation? As I mentioned earlier, the rule states that you should only buy a home if you plan to stay in it for at least 5 years. This is because the costs associated with buying and selling a home can be significant, and it often takes several years for the equity in your home to grow enough to cover those costs. So let's do the math and break this down further. Now, since I live in Mississauga, I will use a live example of the identical units that were sold and leased with numbers taken from Treb. So let's say you bought a 2+ den in 2019 in the Erin Mills area, and you paid $562 for that unit at that time, and your friend leased an identical unit for $2,500, which was a going rate. Now you put down 20%, which amounted to around $112,400. Additionally, you have to pay a closing cost of around 3% of the purchase price, which is $16,860. This means your upfront cost of buying the unit would amount to $129,260, while your friend only forked out $5,000, which is the first and the last month's rent. Now, suppose you decide in 2021 that you want to sell and at that time, identical units were going for $650,000. You just made a profit of $88,000, right? Wrong. You also have to factor in real estate fees, which can amount to anywhere from 4 to 5% of the sale price. So there goes $32,500 out of the $88,000, leaving a profit of $55,000 approximately in hand, while your friend is still renting but paying someone else's mortgage. But if you were to follow the 5-year rule and sell the property in 2023, now the same unit today is going for $845,000, taking your profit to $283,000. And even with the 5% real estate fees of $43,000, you still walk away with $240,000 in profit. And this is just the equity growth. You cannot forget the fact that you have been paying this mortgage down for the past 5 years and that you invested almost $130,000 originally when you bought the property, which you will get back. In the meantime, your friend has to now move because his landlord is selling, and guess what? His rent just jumped up to the current rent of $3,200 per month. So if you are planning on staying in a home for at least 5 years, the equity in the property will likely have grown enough to cover the costs of buying and selling. This means that if you sell your home after 5 years, you are likely to make a profit even after factoring in the closing costs and all the real estate fees. It is also important to note that the 5-year rule is not a hard and fast rule, and there are other factors to consider when deciding whether to rent or to buy a home. Some of these factors include affordability. Can you afford to make a down payment or pay for the ongoing expenses of owning a home, such as mortgage payments, property taxes, and maintenance costs? Second factor, the market trends. Is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? In your area, are home prices likely to increase or decrease in the near future? Your lifestyle. Do you value stability and long-term investments, or do you prefer the flexibility of renting? Your future. Do you plan on staying in the area for a long time, or do you anticipate moving in the near future? The decision to rent or buy a home in 2023 is a complex one that requires careful consideration for several factors. The 5-year rule is a helpful guideline to follow when deciding whether to buy a home or not to buy one. But it's important to remember that it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Ultimately, the decision to rent or buy a home will depend on your financial situation, your lifestyle, and your future plans. So if you have any questions and want clarifications, please don't hesitate to call me. And if you still don't know who I am, go check out my rating on Google and read my client reviews. Till then, take care. And if you found value and liked this video and would like to see more content, please click on the boxes on the screen. Once again, my name is Preeti Rao and my contact information is in the description box below. Make sure to hit like, share, subscribe, and the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to call me because I hold the key that opens the door to your dream home.